All right. Well, since we're on this whole subject, one last story before we take a short break.
All right.
What would it be like? And this goes back to your point, Chris, about guys who can't accept their homosexuality and want to become a transgender person.
All right.
A person like that gets thrown in jail in general population with men.
They should. Were they born with a cock?
Yes.
Yes. Where would you like them to be placed? Orange is the new black?
Right.
No.
No, they're probably going to make another show. Guys, gals, and
Weirdos.
stupid fucking idiots.
Well,
Undecided.
Samantha Hill prayed to God that it would finally end, even if it ended with her death. They're making reference to this guy who's a transgender as a her.
Oh, I was going to ask if we're talking a real male or a real female
So
that
it should be
changed.
Sammy Hill?
Yes. It had been almost 10 days since Hill, a transgender woman, was placed in an isolated federal prison cell with the men who would rape her. A member of the Latin Kings gang. In those 10 days... In those 10 days, he had physically attacked her and sexually assaulted her multiple times. In a secluded small special housing unit, typically used for solitary confinement, no one acted on her screams for help. But in what she calls a miracle, Hill's prayers were answered the next day. She would be freed from the cell, eventually taken away from her rapist. Still, she would not be free from such attacks for long. Soon after, the federal prison system put her in another cell in another facility with another male inmate who once again sexually assaulted her. So basically, the prison system did not recognize her as a female. They said, "You're a dude.
Right?
You're a dude that dresses and looks like a woman."
Dude, you're not getting raped over here anymore. We're putting you in this jail. This is where the raping will commence.
Right.
Obviously, then this ain't the same one that was bitching that it had its change, and nobody was asking her out, whatever the fuck it was.
Whatever the fuck it was.
This sounds like a good episode of Oz to me.
Right. And this wasn't the first time Hill went through this cycle. Before the Latin Kings member became her cellmate, she was sexually assaulted at least 4 times. Altogether, it took at least 8 sexual assaults across 5 federal prisons throughout the country, and the threat of the lawsuit for the federal prison system to finally move Hill to a safe facilities.
Jeez, oh man.
She got around.
Yeah.
God
Good
damn
old
it.
Sammy.
Yeah. During the course of her time in prison since
The
1990...
paper needs to stop calling them her.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm...
back
The
and
prison
forth.
system's not treating them as her.
Yeah.
That's right.
Saying them
Because they're bigoted.
Yeah. I guess.
But she's still got a dick.
During the course of her time in prison since 1998, Hill was sexually assaulted once in 2001, once in 2003, at least 4 times in 2010, and once in 2011, and once in 2013.
I wonder if she was ever gang
Yeah,
bang.
Sammy's like saying it like notches on a belt, you know. Yeah, you know.
According to Hill and her lawsuit, there was also an attempted a sexual assault in a shower in 2014, and through all of this, Hill was repeatedly physically assaulted. So this transgender person was being,
rough.
Yes.
Well, I just want to know what
Literally.
Sammy was in there for in the first place.
Yeah, seriously.
Trying to make herself look so hot.
Right. Stop tempting us. Stop
Sammy,
tempting
you
us.
know what that does to me.
Yeah.
Is this post or pre-op?
It doesn't say.
See, that would be an interesting question.
I'm going to guess, and it doesn't say, that it's pre.
Yeah, because if it was post, they probably would slap this dude in with the...
In the chicks.
Yeah, maybe. The core problem is how the prison system classifies and treats Hill and others like her. Hill is a transgender woman, someone who identifies and presents as a woman but was designated as a male at birth. But the prison system treats her as a man, so she has been locked up in men's prisons, typically high-security facilities with very violent inmates. The results have been tragically predictable. Despite all of this, Hill believes she's finally reached the light beyond the darkness of the tunnel. In addition to keeping Hill safe, the lawsuit settlement requires the Federal Bureau of Prisons to provide treatments for Hill's gender dysphoria,
Here we go.
post-traumatic stress syndrome, and rape trauma syndrome, as well as pay her $70,000.
Wow, 70 grand.
Yeah. Hill, for now, has her own cell and can only be assigned a cellmate with her serious consideration. She has access to makeup and women's clothing and hygiene products. Now, why does this dude need female hygiene products? Why?
Makeup.
Well, I understand.
You're in prison.
I understand that.
First off, why is he getting a fucking choice of, oh, no, he won't do? Fuck you, you're in prison.
Well, again, it's special rules for special people.
Oh, here we go.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And prison staff now refer to her as a woman, calling her by her chosen name. Hill doesn't make a specific event that put her on the path that eventually doomed her to prison. She does admit her mistakes, but she also references her early life, explaining how she lived in an abusive family that pushed her to homelessness, leading her to resort to drugs for an escape and crimes, sex work, theft, and eventually attempted bank robberies to make ends meet.
This wasn't in East Cleveland, was it?
Gotta go rob some banks to make ends meet.
It is tragic enough as one person's story, but Hill is no anomaly. She's just one trans person whose experiences reflect the horrible circumstances many trans people, and to a lesser extent, LGBTQ people more broadly go through. From family rejection to high rates of victimization in prison, one factor that makes Hill's story so terrifying is how common her experiences may be.
What the fuck does LGB fucking all stand for?
Lesbian, gay,
Oh, okay.
butthole,
Queer.
Queer.
investigators.
Right. Here is Hill's story, told largely from her perspective, based on her conversations with me and verified by legal and prison documents and her attorney, Lissy Owen and Sarah Hartley. So this goes into a whole
See,
story.
back in 2001, they came after my butthole the first time.
Right.
And then a couple more times after that.
Hill was born in 1971 in Massachusetts. From the start, she faced serious problems in her family. My mom and stepdad were both alcoholics, and there was abuse there. Hill says her uncle sexually abused her. Abuse she didn't even identify as such until she was older. In her understanding as a child, her mother wouldn't drop her off at a dangerous man's place, and her uncle always told her he loved her after it was over. So Hill
He loved her a long time.
So Hill assumed there was nothing wrong with what was happening to her.
She was loved. So it's okay to
That's normal.
It's fine.
And
But Hill says she always knew something was different about her. At first, she
like
thought
my uncle's banging me. Start with that.
That's different from anybody else I know.
Sure.
Hey.
At first,
From a loving family to me.
right?
Yeah.
At first, she thought she was gay since she was attracted to boys. But she always knew she identified more with girls than boys. And as she got older, this would lead her to embrace her identity as a trans woman. At 16 or 17, Hill came out to her parents, and she was caught sexually assaulting a 14-year-old boy. Now, isn't that just a gay crime?
Yeah, sounds like it.
You know, but just because that, hey, you know what, I'm a woman, even though I'm a guy, but I'm a woman today, and I'm sexually assaulting a boy, Isn't that just a gay crime?
It's a gay guy raping a kid.
That's basically it. But because she says I'm a woman, it's a woman raping a boy.
Well, last I checked, a grown woman can't rape a boy either, right?
Well, according to a teacher, yeah.
Oh, now we're talking. Yeah.
Hill says she didn't know it was wrong at the time.
No.
She thought that based on her experiences with her uncle, that's just how love is expressed. Let me put my love into you, babe.
By babe, you mean literal babe.
Let me cut your cake with my knife. Shortly thereafter, her parents kicked her out of the house.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
Queer.
Bigot.
Hill said, I went through middle school all the way up to high school, then I dropped out because I was kicked out of my house by my mom and dad when they found out I was gay.
Yeah, man.
No, she identifies as a woman. He's not gay.
Well, the old man should have, when they found out he was gay, the first thing the old man should have did was popped him in the fucking jaw. Maybe knocked a couple teeth out. Straighten him out.
Straighten him right out.
Yeah.
So you get better blowjobs.
So I went to the streets and became homeless and lived on the streets. I continued to stay on the streets for years. I would get arrested for petty crimes. I went to jail. As I got older, I just got tired of the life down there on the streets, and I got into drugs really heavy. She turned to theft and sex work to buy food and drugs, but that eventually wasn't enough. So I went and I robbed a bank and then got sent to federal prison and did 8 years. The line from family rejection to homelessness in prison that Hill describes is far from atypical. According to the 2011 National Transgender Discrimination Survey, wow.
Oh, my God.
57% of trans and gender non-conforming people report family rejection. All right, so there we go, Stephanie. That goes back to, upbringing again. Right. So this every time we read one of these stories, it just goes back to if you got a poor upbringing, chances are you're going to end up fucked up. I mean, it really is. And Jackal's got it right. You say if your parents busted your ass and kept you on the straight and narrow, there's a high probability you wouldn't end up fucked up.
Yeah, there's hope.
Yeah.
My ex told me that when her kids were in school, this is just like 12 years ago, 13 years ago, they gave them a fucking phone number to call if you're beating the hell out of your kid. If you beat your kid.
Right.
What the fuck are you talking about? Phone number. It's your fucking kid. If he needs a crack in the fucking skull, he needs a crack in the skull.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Goddamn pussy ass fucking goddamn. This fucking world sucks nowadays. God damn it. I was beating my ass. I'm going to beat my kid's ass. It's just the way. So it's the way of life, man.
Back when we were younger, we had a number that our parents could call if they needed help beating their kids.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way we rule.
Fucking call a number. My
Make a
mom
man out of you.
beating my
Come here and
ass.
get your ass beat.
You come out to my house, I'll fucking beat your ass too. Dumb motherfucker. Nothing this Smith & Wesson won't take care of when you can get like
Took a shovel to the head at the age of 14.
I can't help.
Made a man out of me.
I hear those stories and it just makes me fucking nuts.
My dad
Phone
shot
number.
me right up.
Can't beat your kid. Shut the fuck
I'll be a
up.
man. I'll give you something to cry about, and I'm not fucking kidding.
Yeah.
Fucking goddamn Louisville Slugger across your head.
Chuck Connors, the rifleman, was
Depends
my
what
father.
the crime is, man. You gotta, punishment fits the crime.
Right. This has precipitous effects. Those rejected by their families were nearly 3 times as likely to experience homelessness, 68% more likely to resort to drugs and alcohol to deal with mistreatment, and 73% more likely to be incarcerated. So family rejection can potentially play a tremendous role in trans persons' future, but it appeared to in Hill's life. Percentage of respondents who experienced certain outcomes based on whether they were rejected or accepted by their family due to their gender identity and expressions, used drugs and alcohol to cope with mistreatment, did sex work or underground work for income, experienced homelessness, had been incarcerated, and attempted suicide. Hill continued, then I got out in 2006. I went to the doctor for medications and stuff, and they were just too expensive, way too much, so I just gave up and I robbed another bank and went to prison.
Fuck yeah. And then the butthole raping commenced again.
I can't afford my medicine. Stick them up!
I need a new set of boobies. Reflecting on how she'll ultimately spend nearly 20 years of her life in prison, Hill says, I sit there and I say to myself, why? It's a mess. I came here to prison and they offer me now the operation. They offer me the medications and stuff like that. All of this I had to come to prison for by committing a crime. Hill is not alone in lacking access to care outside of the prison walls. According to the NTDS, 19% of trans and gender nonconforming people lacked insurance, compared with 15% of the general population at the time of the survey in 2010. And although the American Medical Association and American Psychiatric Association considered general dysphoria a medical condition that requires gender-affirming care, most states do not require insurance plans to cover trans-related care, leaving it out of reach for many trans people. Hill says the lack of access was a big reason she ended up in prison a second time. Her thought was either the robbery would be successful to get her money she needed for trans-related care, or she would get the care she needed in prison. I just gave up, she said.
Just quit.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what, if I can't get it out here, if I go to prison, they'll just pay for it.
Well, believe me, in prison, he'll be treated like the woman he wants to be treated like. Won't have a problem there.
Maybe he'll get gangbanged and somebody will fucking knock him off.
Well, apparently that's what's happened, and he's sued for it. It's like, these guys fucked me in the ass just like I wanted, and now I'm mad about it.
Well, he's going to piss off the wrong one, and it's going to be like that. They killed that fucking guy that was cutting up all them people. Dahmer.
Yeah, Dahmer.
Somebody's going to take care of this motherfucker.
Right. Hill went to federal prison, U.S. Penitentiary, Lewisburg in Pennsylvania, on her first robbery charges in 1998. Back in 98, it was known as the Red Top because of a lot of the murders, stabbings, and so forth up there. Correction officers would get stabbed, and inmates too. It was a very violent place. This was my first time in federal prison. Soon after, Hill was put in protective custody because she said, I had inmates trying to pimp me out, trying to make me work for money for them and coming up into my cell. So I checked into protective custody, and they put me in a cell with somebody who was doing life plus 30. I was beat and I was raped in the cell. I had bruises on my body.
Too bad the guy didn't finish him off.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It was bad. I believed that my cellmate would kill me. He's already doing life plus 30 years, so you're locked in a cell with this person 24/7, and it was dreadful. It was sad. It was scary because I knew at nighttime, every night, he was going to do what he was going to do to me.
Right up.
Play cards?
Yeah.
Cards
I've set up the dominoes. Want to play?
Chess, anyone?
Let's go knock over some dominoes.
Yeah. During this time, Hill points out, I was supposed to be in protective custody, but the Federal Bureau of Prisons didn't seem to make any steps to put someone like Hill, who describes herself as feminine, meek, and under-intimidating, with a cellmate who posed no threat. So in 2001, she was attacked and raped, according to her lawsuit in the prison records. This was the first rape noted in Hill's lawsuit, but it didn't come without warning. For one, the records show Hill clearly and repeatedly telling staff that she was worried she was vulnerable to attacks in prison.
Well, maybe next time don't rob a fucking bank and you won't go to prison, you dumb fuck.
It was necessary because she needed the drugs for her
trans.
Yeah. What's more concerned about the risk of sexual assault trans people face in prison are backed by the research in 2016 report from the Movement Advancement Project and the Center for American Progress. Look at all the money that's being spent on all these organizations and all these. You know, it's just money after money after money. You know, we need a society for this, and we need a program for that, and we need this, and we need look where all this money just filters out to. I mean, it's ridiculous. Let's see here. A 2016 report from the Movement Advancement Project and the Center for American Progress found trans inmates are very high risk of sexual abuse in prison. Really? That would have never occurred to me.
Wow.
About 1.2% of heterosexual inmate report sexual assault by other inmates in prison and jails, while 24.1% of trans inmates report at least one sexual assault.
No kidding.
So basically, nobody wants to fuck a straight dude.
Guess not.
Eventually, Hill would be moved to the USP Allenwood in Pennsylvania. As she described it, it was a solitary confinement. It was not good at all. I had people sending me letters saying what they would like to do with me. Having me down to their cell, stuff like that. I turned it over to the staff to let them be aware of it. Let's see here. Here's one of the letters. It said, this person, they call him Cherokee. What up? Check it out. I asked the CO about the move, right? He said to let him know who's going to move where, and he will get the move done. I told him, you can move in with me, and I told him you can move in with me, and your cellie could move next door with my neighbor, though, through the vent, so write me back. Let me know if you want to do this. Neverett, the CO, is good about making moves happen. Make sure to write me a kite, okay? K-I-T-E? I don't know what that is. So I know what's up. Man, I want you for my cellie. I can't wait to have your hot ass.
Oh.
I want to slow fuck you and come all up in you.
Oh.
I want to feel those soft lips on my dick. Write me back. I can shoot my line around. See, I can shoot my line around there if you want, but write me back. Love, Little Chief.
Nice pick, Demon.
Little Chief. It was an ongoing thing. I no longer wanted to go out to recreation. I didn't want people to see me. Every 21 days I had to move to another cell. I just dreaded it because I did not want nobody to see me. On top of the emotional stress that was being in my cell, I started to become my own worst enemy. It was pretty harsh. Let's see here. It's just disgusting.
Fucked up.
There was some good news. I had really a good doctor who was the chief psychologist. He kept telling the federal prison that I should not be in the U.S. penitentiary system. Generally high security facilities that typically house more dangerous inmates because my characteristics being transgender and my feminine status. He said that I should not be in the USP and I should be in the lower security prison.
Bullshit, you robbed a bank!
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure you did it with a gun.
Yep, so you get what you get.
Crime.
But they ignored my pleas, so they ended up putting me in a cell with a Cuban. This man was emotionally detached.
Oh, boy.
He wasn't really wrapped too tightly, and he tried to sodomize me. I went to the staff. I told him that I was laying in bed. He was trying to touch me. I let the staff be aware of it. They had me moved out of the cell right away. Dr. Mitchell again said that I needed to be removed from the institution and put into a lower security facility because this was way too much. Within a few years, Hill was briefly released from prison, and she tried to find a way to pay for trans-related care. Realizing that she couldn't afford it, she tried once again to rob a bank. Realizing that she would either get the money from the robbery or get her treatment in prison, she was locked up again.
Wow.
Surprise.
Eventually, Hill was transferred to the USP in Victorville, California. I used to live there. In 2010, there she would there she would experience what she described as the worst series of assaults during her time period. When I got there, they had no cell for me, she said. They had no open protective custody cells whatsoever, so I stayed inside the recreational cage inside the SHU, that is the special housing unit, with cramped cells, sometimes used for solitary confinement, waiting to find me another cellmate. Finally, they did. They came back and told me that they had a cellmate for me. Her new cellmate in the special housing unit was a Latin King gang murderer.
The fuck does this thing, whatever it is, think it's just a vacation? You're in fucking jail.
Yeah, you committed crimes.
She was in the
You get it up the ass, you get it up the ass. Your own fucking fault.
Sure. What? That's personal responsibility. What are you talking about?
She was in the recreational cage?
Yeah.
She was the recreation.
Yeah, exactly. Let's recreate, bitch.
Why don't you just put her up at the fucking Holiday Inn?
Yeah.
Fucking cunt. Well, I don't know. It's a cunt or what it is.
Right.
It.
Not yet.
At first, things were fine, Hill said, but one day a letter was sent back, and she originally sent to the Federal Bureau of Prison Directors. The letter was a desperate plea for help detailing the violence, both physical and sexual, but Hill had faced while in prison, her criminal history and her identity as a trans woman. But Hill couldn't get to the letter before her cellmate, she said. He goes, "You got a letter here. What's up with that? How come you're writing to the director of the Bureau of Prisons?" I was like, "I'm just asking for programming." He goes, "Listen, I'm a Latin King. There's rules. If you're going to be writing or talking to staff, I have to know about it. I can't be living with no rat. I can't be living with no one who's going to be going to the police because I'm affiliated. That's just not going to happen in here." Yeah, bitch. You toe the line, bitch. So I got down off the bed to try to get the letter, and he pushed me away. He opened up the envelope, and he read the letter. After reading the letter, he looked over at me and said, "Now, I got something on you, punk. Now I got you," and I didn't know what he meant or what he was going to do about it. That night, he goes, "So, you're a fag, huh? You're a little bitch." I said, "Listen, I don't want, if you don't want me in the cell, I can just move out. There's no harm. I didn't want to disrespect you. It's not something I go around telling people. You never asked me at the door. You asked me what I was in prison for." He goes, No, you're going to stay. You're going to take care of my needs. You're going to wash my drawers. You're going to clean this house. You're going to make my coffee. You're going to make my bed. I'm going to fuck you. You're going to stay here.
Oh. God damn.
Sounds like the words to like a Nine Inch Nails song or something.
And I'm trying to explain to him what I've been through and that I didn't want this to happen and that I would prefer it if he would just let me leave. He said, Nah, you don't think I would I don't think I would look like letting a homosexual move into my cell and writing to the staff and letting them know things. I would then look like a punk. So, you're not going to be taxed, and that's just the way it's going to be. Over the next 10 days, her cellmate repeatedly beat and raped her. One night I was praying to God, and I said, "Please, just get me out of this. I'm not going to do this no more with this prison. I don't care what happens. If he takes my life, he takes my life. I'm praying you just get me out of here."
Jesus.
He wanted to have sex again. I told him no. He said, "What?" I said, "No, I'm not going to do this no more." I don't know where I got the strength verbally, but I did. I told him, "I'm done. This is over. You can do what you want with me, but I'm tired of this."
That's it.
Like a train at the switching yard.
"I'm tired of you just taking advantage of me and hurting me and beating me. I'm tired of this."
Ain't taking it no more.
And that's when he messed me up. He hit me, he punched me, he threw me around the room, he got me on the floor, he straddled me and held my hair, and he continued punching me in the face, telling me he was an alpha male and that he wasn't gonna take no shit from no bitch. Just kept punching me and punching me. He got me, he threw me onto the metal toilet, threw me on the door, had me down on the corner of the door, and I was crying.
That's what the parents should have been doing.
Parents would have done that. None of this would
Yeah, exactly.
I was crying and I was screaming for help. But in that range, or in a USP, there's a rule that people go by, that you just mind your own business. The next day, there was an opening. Prison officials moved in to transfer Hill and her cellmate to a new cell. Seizing the opportunity, she explained everything she had gone through, and the prison began to transfer her. A later investigation by the federal officials into the rape allegations would turn out inconclusive, even though there were physical evidence that Hill had been beaten up.
call him Bill.
But this wouldn't be the end of it. As the Federal Bureau of Prisons prepared to transfer Hill to a prison in Colorado, they first had to make a stop at a transfer center, but it was turned out that her cellmate, the Latin Kings gang member who had raped her, was being transferred at the same time on the same bus.
The same transporting vehicle.
Yeah, this sounds like Con Air.
Yeah.
They had put on the same bus and put me on the same plane with this individual, and while we were on the plane together, he was letting people know that I was a rat and that I had gone to the feds, that I had tried to press charges on him for rape. He told them that I had a sex offense when I was a juvenile. He told them that whenever I was going to make sure that the Latin Kings were unaware of this little bitch over here, and that she needed to get taken care of because they tried to take down one of ours. I notified the U.S. Marshals right away. I'm like, do you people realize who's on the plane with me? They're like, who? I told them my assailant, the rapist, the one who raped me from the USP Victorville.
And they laughed and laughed.
And the people that you're just grabbing me from to transfer me, now he's on the same plane and he's making threats. He's been going to the bathroom to and fro from the bathroom, and he told me that it's not over and that when he gets his hands on me, he's going to kill me. And there are other inmates on the plane too. Once again, the federal prison system had put Hill in a serious danger, and it wouldn't be the last time. She would later be sexually assaulted in 2011 and 2013. The 2013 assault would be the last and the 8th time Hill was sexually assaulted by an inmate based on her lawsuit and the prison documents. But one thing changed. After writing more than 100 letters to attorneys, Hill gained a legal representation. In 2014, Hill and her attorneys filed a lawsuit alleging in part that her treatment in prison had violated her 8th Amendment protections against cruel and unusual punishment. She eventually settled with the Federal Bureau of Prisons and was transferred to the lower security prison in Butner, North Carolina. Interesting name, Butner. But after a stint in solitary confinement as a punishment for the dispute with another inmate, in 2015 she was moved to a minimum security federal medical center in Kentucky, down there with Nathan.
Nice.
Yeah.
In the new facility, Hill says it's a much better experience. With 2 years left on her prison sentence, she sounds more optimistic. It was a struggle, she says, of finding legal representation and filing her lawsuit, but in the long run, it paid off. In the Kentucky facility, the staff treats Hill with respect, calling her by her designated name and gender, and she's getting the care she needs for her gender dysphoria, her post-traumatic stress syndrome, and rape trauma.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm with Jackal. Is this one person worth saving?
Fuck no.
A 5-cent bullet from a 9mm. I think this would just solve this whole problem.
Oh, yeah.
Well, or the next cell could
Right.
be the bottom of fucking Lake Erie.
Right. Hill doesn't hesitate when asked why the conditions are better. It's because of the lawsuit. They're following the lawsuit to the T, and whether the staff want to or not, they're going to base on what the law says on the lawsuit. By preventing incessant rape and abuse shouldn't require the law. Hill and other inmates aren't supposed to go through these kind of hellish circumstances, yet the prison system has consistently failed trans people, putting them in similar grim scenarios. Beyond the horrific statistics showing that about a quarter of trans inmates experience sexual abuse while incarcerated, there are other stories eerily similar to Hill's, like those of Passion Star in Texas and Ashley Diamond in Georgia.
Once again, stop doing shit to get fucking thrown in jail.
That's right.
What the fuck?
This guy did get out and he robbed again.
God damn it.
The U.S. Department of Justice, for its part, seemed to be well aware of the U.S. prison system's failure. In a memorandum filed in March, the Justice Department reiterated existing standards set by the Prison Rape Elimination Act, passed in 2012, telling prison officials a transgender or intersex inmate...
Intersex.
Yeah. Own views with respect to his or her own safety shall be given serious consideration. So these people can basically call their own shots now.
That's nice.
You know, I robbed a bank, I did this, I did that, but I'm intersexual or whatever.
I'm scared.
So, I want to pick my own roommate. I want special, treatment. I need,
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm going to sue you. The Federal Bureau of Prisons declined to comment on Hill's story, stating that it doesn't comment on individual cases and failing to respond to follow-up questions. Again, this is an existing law that provides a way to avoid stories like Hill's by taking simple, obvious precautionary steps. The steps can take the shape of a single person housing, but not necessarily solitary, which leaves someone isolated from the outside world for 21 plus hours a day, as Hill now has. There are also other options, including housing for LGBTQ inmates together, as in the Los Angeles County's men's jail, placing trans women in women's jails and prisons, and supplying protective custody. So look at all this extra money spent just because this person is a transgender.
Huge waste.
So they get special custody and special protection and special cells and special accommodations.
Right.
Fuck. Whenever the result and advocates emphasize the prison and the jails need to take trans inmates' concerns seriously because their worries are legitimate, as the data shows, and keeps them away from dangerous prisoners, particularly those with histories of sexual assault. But the law has often ignored the prison's officials, enabling the ongoing epidemic of rapes and other assaults against LGBTQ inmates. Still, Hill's story shows what happens when such standards are respected, even if it's under the threat of a lawsuit. She is not putting anyone in danger, and she's clearly much happier now that the sexual...
I'm glad. Yeah.
I'm glad she's happy, because we want happy prisoners.
Of course, we want our prisoners, our people that rob people, to be happy.
Right. I'm getting medication now. I'm getting my real life experience. I'm getting all
More
kinds
drugs.
of female items from my female camp next door. They're allowing me to buy hair coloring, makeup. I live in a single cell. I have my own shower. They put a metal grate on my windows so no one can look inside. I have privacy piano slides that go over my windows. I live in a Commonwealth unit. It's good all over. It's a real good deal here.
How sweet.
I gotta get in that prison.
That's it.
No doubt.
It's like living here, just without the rent.
Hey, it's all good.
Yep.
Yeah, they
All you
treat
gotta do is rob a couple banks and you're in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all good. I got my own place, got my own food, I got my own cell,
That's
I got
right.
my own shower, I got privacy, I got everything.
You might
It's
have to
just
take
that
it up
easy.
the ass a couple hundred times first, but eventually
Well, then there's that.
you'll get moved to the right
Other
place.
than that, it sounds great.
Yeah,
You know?
it's fantastic.
Fuck.
So there you go. So it pays to be
Meet
transgender,
friends.
especially if you're going to go to prison.
No shit.
Fuck. I ain't gonna be no LGBT.
the long
motherfucker
summer
or
camp.
whatever they are.
Go make some friends.
Right.
Fucking queer bastards.
I'm glad to have a voice of reason in this room. God damn it.
I can't help it. It just fucking pisses me the fuck off.
As it should.
Thank you.
As it should. All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap up the show.
Is it 3 o'clock?
It's almost. It's like quarter of.
Fucking
Nice.
hey.
Let me have that space, Jack.
Yes, sir.
You get in there.
So it's been interesting, all the fucked up shit in this world.
All right.
Absolutely crazy.
All right, we're back.
So since we're talking about fucked up shit,
Yeah.
of course, there's a book out there called Call Me Chris.
That's right.
It's about fucked up shit.
That's right.
And Chris can attest to that. So, being that this was the official release party for the book, I encourage everybody who's listened to the show tonight to go over and buy you one over there at chrisaikenbooks.com.
That's right.
And Chris will sign one for you
I will.
with everything and anything you want, even if you're an LGBTQRST person.
Exactly. I'll sign whatever.
He doesn't discriminate.
No, sir, I do not.
He's not discriminatory. He's not a bigot. He's not a racist.
That's right.
He's a man of the people.
That's right.
So it's been a lot of fun. I want to thank, of course, Chris for hosting this party, and Billy Morris for his smoking rock and roll
Hell yeah.
barbecue, which there's plenty of that left over.
Sure.
And, you know, our good friend Stephanie and our John and Jackal and Rock and Randy and everybody who's stopped in today and been a
Sure.
part of the show.
Fun.
Well, since it's your party there, Chris, any thanks or any mentions?
I'm thankful for everybody that's bought the book and is buying the book. You know, it's fucking very humbling that people want to read my bullshit. So that's
Sure.
all. You know, just thanks and, enjoy it as much as you can enjoy a book about being blown up.
Right.
You know, not the happiest topic in the world, but I think it's pretty good.
Sure.
That's it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're a few minutes shy, but, by the time we play the music and I get out of here, it's time.
That's right. I'll play a 7-minute song. We'll come out right on time.
There you go. All right. Well, we will be back next Saturday. We'll be in our normal locations.
Yes.
And whatnot, and we'll do this thing all over again. So it's been fun here at the Studio B in Ohio. So, again, I want to thank everybody who's been part of the Classic Metal Show tonight.
Right.
In the chat room and participated and all the great phone calls and the silliness, as always. You
Right.
guys are great.
Awesome.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. What are we going to play?
We're going to play a little Bury Me in Smoke, a little down.
All right. Excellent. From the NOLA CD.
That's right.
Excellent. Good stuff. All right. Well, it's been fun. Thanks for everybody tuning in and bearing with us and so on and so forth. And we'll be back next Saturday night. We'll do this all over again. So this is Neeley along with my very good friend.
Chris Hagen.
And we're gone.
Bye, kids.